The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nicole Messi, Vice President of Music Biz. Hope you are all doing well and safe wherever you may be in the world today. Wanted to welcome you again to the Common Ground webinar series. It's a series that we've been doing for about 10 years now. I'm very proud of the presenters and the information that has come out of this series. And we have, definitely plans for a lot more of these in the coming weeks and months and years. So be sure to check musicbiz.org for our upcoming event schedule. Talking about events, unfortunately, to cancel our annual conference. We tried very hard to postpone from May until August, but with the uncertainty in the world, cannot risk anybody's health this year. So we will not be meeting face-to-face until 2021. Dates for the Music Biz 2021 are May 10th through the 13th. Until then, we have a great slate of virtual events, not only this Common Ground webinar series, but we have our Music Biz Live series and a number of other summits that we're going to take from what would have been the face-to-face event and make them into something virtual, including our metadata summit, our podcasting summit, our indie artist and songwriter forum, and many more. So be on the lookout for announcements. We have an announcement going out later today with some great upcoming programs. So again, our first announcement this afternoon, and be sure to check out musicbiz.org or our social channels by following us at musicbizsos on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram for all these upcoming announcements of the great programming that's here to come. But today, I'm going to turn over the mic to the Music Fund. John Funge and Thomas Jerde, co-founders of the Music Fund, are here today to talk to you about the future of on-demand financing. So, John, Thomas, welcome to the Common Ground webinar series. I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to you. Attendees, if you have questions, there's a questions box in your screen. Be sure to use that to communicate today with both John and Thomas. Thank you all for being here, and the Music Fund, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for inviting us, and thanks to everyone who's attending. So my name's John, and I'm going to quickly introduce the Music Fund, give you a little bit of background of where we came from, how we get started, what we're trying to do. And then I'm going to turn it over to my co-founder, Thomas, who is going to walk us through the website and show you exactly how it works. And after that, we'll try and answer as many of your questions as we can. So the goal of the Music Fund is to provide funding to artists by buying a portion of their back catalogue, and to do it as in an artist-friendly way as possible. So we'll go through a bunch of the artist-friendly features we have. One of the basic idea is that we buy a portion of your back catalogue streaming royalties, a percentage, and we buy it for a fixed amount of time. So for example, we might buy 20% of 10 tracks for 2 years. So what that means is for that 2 years, we take 20% of the revenue that comes in for those tracks, and you keep the 80% that you didn't sell. We give you upfront cash for the 20% you gave us. So basically, it's like you don't have to wait for that income coming through streaming. You can just get it now, today. And in return, we hope that we will make about 10 or 15% on that. So we're trying to be as reasonable as possible there. And the other cool feature we have is that when that 2 years is over, you owe us nothing, and that's the case even if we haven't fully recouped. So if we gave you 10,000 and we forecast wrong in terms of how much we thought we were going to get back from our 20%, and we only ended up getting back 9,000, then we just lose $1,000 on that deal. Obviously, we hope that on average we make money, but you don't take on any debt as an artist, because as I said, once the term is up, you don't owe us anything. So we'll go through more of the kind of artist friendly features as we proceed through the demo, and you can read more about it on our website. But just before I turn it over to Thomas, I think it's might be helpful to understand where the idea of the Music Fund came from and sort of our underlying sort of backgrounds and motivations. So Thomas and I were both working at a company called Winton before the Music Fund, and what Winton did is they used data and algorithms So no people, just data and algorithms to invest in things like stocks and commodities and things like that. And their business model was that they make a large number of small bets. So they're kind of the opposite to Warren Buffett. You've probably heard about Warren Buffett as an investor who makes a small number of large bets using his like skill and intuition. So Winton was the opposite of that, a large number of small bets using algorithms. And they were wrong sometimes on what they bought, and they lost money sometimes, but on average, they were correct and they made money. So that was the business model that we wanted to see if we could apply it to the music industry. And it started off as an internal project, just a sort of out of curiosity as much as anything. But it seemed to work as a business. And so then we went to South by Southwest a couple of times, and we got into Techstars Music Accelerator in LA so that we could get feedback from the artist community and musicians. And the response we got was just very enthusiastic, because artists more than anyone realize how difficult it is to get funding and what limited options there are available to artists, especially at the lower end. And so the great thing about our business model is that we can scale out to the long tail of artists because everything is automated. That enables us to offer money to even artists at the very low end, because it's all automated, and we'll show you that in a moment. So yeah, we got this great response from the artist community, and so we decided to spin the company out as a completely separate entity, and we did that at the end of 2018. So we've been going since then, and we've been making deals since then, and we've had people come to the platform, get money from us, and not speak to a single soul. So the whole thing is completely automated. So that's probably a good segue to hand this over to Thomas. So he will actually run you through that and show you how it works from an artist's perspective and how the whole thing works. Thomas, over to you.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So the way this works is if you're an artist looking for some funds, you go to our website, themusic.fund. So let's say I'm an artist. I distribute my music through TuneCore, for example, one of these DIY distributors. So if you click this Get Started button, then you will create an account, fill in some stuff here. This is all as you'd expect. You type in your artist name, and then we're going to use that to try to match you to your Spotify artist profile. So hopefully one of these would be a match to what you type in, and you would confirm this is me, and then you can start the application process. So that looks like this, where you've already created an account. So the next steps, we need to get some data in order to figure out what to include in your offer. So this is a connection issue right now, but let me refresh this page. Okay, so there we go. So now that we've connected your identified Spotify profile, what we need to do is give us access to your data. So you have a Spotify for Artists team, and you invite us to that team. That lets us see your music. And then we just ask you to confirm that you've done that. And then similarly for Apple Music for Artists, you also have a profile there. We give you instructions on how to invite us to your team, confirm that you've done that. We'll send you an email and we've received your invites and accepted them. And the next step is to upload statements of your royalties. So these are the three main distributors that we work with, although we can work with others. And we give you instructions on how you can get those documents. Also, TuneCore, we have a feature where you can just enter your TuneCore login, and then we'll log in on your behalf to fetch the files, because it can be kind of time consuming for you to download all the files and then upload them all to us. So we can get them in the background for you. It takes about 3 seconds. And then once you're done with those uploads, you can submit the application, and then we crunch the numbers in the background and see what we can put together for an offer. So you'll get a notification when that offer is ready, and it looks like this. So easy steps to choose an offer and then view the agreement, and then there are closing steps to getting paid. So what we see here is a slider where we have a range of what we can offer you as far as the funds. So in this case, for this music, we could offer up to $25,000. So let's say I'm looking to record a video or something, some expense. Maybe I need $12,000, and this amount updates as you adjust the slider. So in order to raise $12,000, I need to sell 31% of my royalties, be 7 tracks for 2 years. If I wanted to raise more, then it would be a higher percentage. So what's 15? So then you can review the R. And this confirms some of the details, and it has the track list, including the ISRC codes and what you currently own and the portion we'll buy. So in this case, here's a track where this test user currently has 15% share of it. So we would buy 43% of that. And so that is just all laid out for you here to review. You get all that information from the statements you uploaded. This has the estimated start and end date. And then, as John mentioned, we reiterate some of the features of our deal. So this is a limited term. After 2 years, the splits will revert to you. And at that point, even if we haven't made back our investment, you still owe us nothing. It's not a recouping deal. The whole time you keep 100% of your copyright, and we're only buying these these tracks. We're not buying anything you release in the future. So this is you keep 100% of any future releases. We also have a feature called Big Hit Protection, which is just sort of insurance. If you have if you have some big success, like a big hit, whether it's one of the tracks that we bought or whether it's some other new release of yours that bumps up interest rates, if we end up making back a lot more than we invested, then we'll split that upside with you, because our business model doesn't depend on those big hits. Those are too unpredictable for our algorithms. So just to give you some peace of mind that if you have this suddenly you blow up, you won't be missing out. So if you like all these details, then you can go to the next step of reviewing the legal agreement. So you put in your details, and then that would populate the form here. And that we try to make this as transparent and as painless as possible, but we just need to define everything because this music business has some complications. So we encourage you to read through this very thoroughly. But it's essentially very simple. What we're doing is for the term of the deal, 2 years, we're splitting the royalty income on these tracks that are listed here. This is the interest in them that we will be collecting. And then this is the amount we're giving you up front. So if you agree to those, you can click accept. And then the next step is closing steps that you need to do to get paid. Mostly this is around verifying your identity to make sure that there's not someone imitating you, an imposter. So we ask you to do some steps like upload of a government ID. We have you record a video of yourself reading a random phrase. You can use your camera phone to do that. It's all very easy. This is just to make sure that you're a real person, not a robot. You are who you say you are. We ask you to DM us from your official artist Instagram account, and we verify those steps in the background. So when those are done, you set up your team share. So if your music is on DistroKid, then you would log into your account there and set up the splits. So that's where we were buying 43% of your track. So you set up that split information on each track, and then we receive a confirmation when those we've been invited to those splits. So once we've confirmed that, we ask keep us on your Spotify for artists, keep us on your Apple Music for artists. You need to fill out a W-9 since we're sending you money, and we send you money. You can do that with PayPal or with Stripe. And then that's it.
Very cool. Thanks, Thomas. Steve, I noticed you had a question about the level of income and documentation necessary for an artist to receive money. Hopefully that demo answered that question. Well, there's some stuff on the website as well. So our goal long term is to kind of flip things around, and instead of making you offers, would like to be able to price whatever it is you want to sell us. So that's our long-term goal. We're not quite there yet. And right now, we look for artists who, so if you want to sell us a portion of a track, then we need at least 2 years worth of history of royalty statements for that track. Again, over time, we would like to reduce that requirement, but right now, as we're still fairly early, we want to be conservative. So we need 2 years worth of royalty statements for a track. And we have made deals for artists earning less than $5,000 a year, but we generally prefer if artists are earning at least $5,000 a year from their royalties. Again, we want to drop that over time, but just as we're still early, we do have that threshold right now. I mean, obviously, even in the long term, it probably wouldn't make sense from a user experience point of view for us to ever make like really tiny offers, just because it'd probably be a waste of the artist's time. But so we may always have some kind of user experience constraints. But the nice thing is the technology can just price whatever it is that the artist wants to sell us. Yep. Another question here: if an artist has a label deal, are they eligible to participate? Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so as long as you have income from royalties, you can participate. So if you have a label deal, and the label is taking some percentage as part of that deal, but you're getting whatever percentage you're getting, say 60% or something, you can sell as a portion of your royalty stream. So you can sell at any portion of your 60%. The only constraint that comes up there sometimes is if you've taken an advance from the label, then obviously you have to pay that advance back first. That's typically the way the kind of label deals work. So we wouldn't be able to give you any money until that advance had been paid off, because we would need to be getting whatever percentage we bought. So that's the only constraint on the label side. Another question: does this cover publishing rights? Yeah, great question. So what we showed you today is all the performance side. We have done a publishing deal before. We did that kind of just so that we could try and understand the landscape better. The challenge that we have on the publishing side is just on the automation front. Some of the companies that you need to work with, yeah, the PROs that you need to work with to send letters of direction and those kind of things, they don't have an automated process that we're aware of. We would love to work with them. So the challenge with them is, we have to send like a manual letter of direction, and then we get physical checks in the mail every month. So once we figure out how to automate that, we will absolutely add in the publishing side, because we're all about automation. Until we have a path to do that in a fully automated way, we can't currently do that. But if anyone has any suggestions on any of that, definitely would love to be able to do that as well. Yeah, it's a funny comment about the PROs. At least the people we've spoken to so far, they're not particularly focused on innovation, as far as I can tell. I mean, they're definitely, we've heard some people trying to disrupt that space, and if that works out, then that could be great. But currently, it has been a bit of an uphill struggle trying to find the right person to talk to at the PROs. But it's something that we haven't focused enormously on yet. But it's definitely something we would like to do in the future. But for now, it's definitely focused on the performance side. A couple of other questions. Oh yeah, yes. So Steve on the chat pointed out that you actually have to send a fax to some of the PROs, which in this day and age is quite amazing. Another question: does the artist have to be US based? Yeah, that's another great question. We are, again, because we're fairly early on and still early in this process, we are initially focusing on the US market, just because we're based in the US. We're in the San Francisco Bay Area, actually. So we understand the legal framework and everything like that. But we have done a couple of deals with people in the UK without any problems. I mean, if you're on DistroKid or TuneCore or CD Baby, then we can definitely sort of the mechanics of the deal will all work out. Obviously, I not qualified to comment on the sort of tax implications of in other countries. I mean, we've looked into the US, obviously. So you'd probably have to figure out the tax implications if you're in other countries. But we are, as I said, we're still focused on the US, but we have done some deals in other countries. Would you add anything to that, Thomas?
I think I covered it.
Yeah. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh yeah, another question about artists not based in the US. Yeah, I mean, I understand that that the US, so the music industry is global, and we definitely do want to support other countries. It's just, as I said, we sort of had that initial US focus just in terms of getting started, but we'll definitely try to expand and offer more support for non-US artists as soon as possible. But yes, it's just a matter of logistics and timing to get to these different issues in different territories. So yeah, we would love to support non-US artists as soon as we possibly can. And as I said, we conservative. Oh, here we have another question. Oh yeah, great question from one of my colleagues. What's the difference between this and an advance? I think that's a great thing to talk about. So traditionally, often the way an advance works is firstly you have to pay off the whole thing. So for example, if you get an advance from a label for $10,000 or something, you typically don't see any of the streaming revenue until you've paid off that full $10,000. So in our case, if we've given you $10,000 for say 20% of your tracks, if you get a check from Spotify for $1,000 one month, then we would take our 20% of that. So we would take $200, but you still get the $800. So you've only sold us a portion of your streaming income. You've also only sold us the portion of your back catalog. So if you release a new song and that new song starts making money, so maybe in a few months your Spotify check is like $2,000 and most of that is coming from your new music, you're still only giving us $200 and you're keeping the $1,800, the $800 that was associated with your back catalog, plus the $1,000 that's coming from the new stuff that you've released. So that's an important difference. And then the other key difference is that at the end of the term, if we've just bought the rights to a portion for 2 years, at the end of that 2 years, you don't owe us anything, even if we haven't recouped. So again, that's unlike a traditional advance where you have to keep paying until you've fully paid that off. So that's the key difference, or some of the key differences. Oh yeah, another great question. Big hit protection. So to go into the details of that, yeah. So again, just in first thing in terms of the background, because so the idea of that is just like, so we added that because some artists were worried when they were selling as like a percentage. Well, what happens if I blow up and I become the next big thing? Then maybe at the time we made this deal, I was giving you 20% of what looked like $1,000 a month, but now now I'm super famous, successful, and now I'm giving you 20% of, I don't know, $10,000 a month or something like that. Just the numbers shot up, or like 50,000 a month or something like that. That would be unfair. So there's a couple of things to say about that. I mean, firstly, if you've only given us 20%, you're still keeping the 80% of the upside that you didn't sell us. The other important thing is that we're not taking any new music. So again, that diminishes how much upside you're giving. And finally, because if the deal is only 2 years, for example, then it ends pretty quickly. But even so, we did want to address those concerns in a more direct way. So that's where the big hit protection came in. And so if we end up earning more than 10 times what we initially gave you, which if you really blow up and you become the next big thing, then we'll give you half back above that threshold. So that's how it specifically works. It's obviously we hope that everybody is the next big thing, but the chances are that that's a very rare event, and we just want to provide some coverage to cover that case. Hopefully that answers the question. Feel free to follow up if not. Another good question. How often can I get funding from you? So again, we've had several repeat customers at this point. I think we've had one artist who has come back, has used us 3 times in I guess about the space of a year. So as you put out new music, you can, and most artists are obviously putting out new music constantly, so they have more work becoming eligible. So for example, if you put out something like 18 months ago and it doesn't quite have 2 years worth of history, in 6 months time it will have two years of history. So that will then become eligible for us to buy a portion of that. And also, if you say you sold us 10% at some point, and then you decided you took the money that we gave you and you made a YouTube video and that like got some really good traction, then maybe you want to sell us another 10% down the road, and that's fine. We discourage people from selling us. We don't want to typically buy 100% of a track, because we want the artist to keep skin in the game, so they keep promoting their work. As I said, we were only doing the financing part, so we're not doing promotion or marketing or any of those kind of things. So we generally don't want to buy 100% of a track, and in fact, we would probably pay less for 100% of a track for that reason than we would for 80% of a track, for example. But you can keep coming back. Yeah, comment on the big hit protection. Yeah, thanks for that. Good comment. Anything you would add to any of those responses, Thomas?
Those are all good questions. I think those are good details to cover. Yeah, I guess I'd just maybe mention generally how I think with the sort of changing landscape of how music works today, that we see ourselves as sort of a part of this new landscape where everything used to be based on equating success with label deals, and that's how you would get that's how you get records made, and that's how you would get tours and promotion, and that's how you would get money. And now artists are figuring out ways to manage their own music, assemble their own team, be their own manager. And it's so much easier than ever before to get your music out into the world. So we're just trying to fill in that niche of how you get the funding if you don't have a label deal. So hopefully we're making that as painless as we can for the artists, so that you can invest in your career and get the money when you need it.
Another good question just came up, was whether you have to hit any milestones, and that's another important point. The money we give you doesn't come with any strings attached. We hope that you will take that money and invest it in your career to make a video, or when it's possible again to go on tour or something like that. But if you want to take the money and spend it on groceries, that's fine too. Buy a car, you can do. The money is yours to do with whatever you want with. We don't put any formal restrictions on the money. Although, as I said, the hope and the intention is that you will invest that in your career. Although obviously, one of the key things that all artists needs is time. So if the money enables you to pay the rent so that you can spend more time on your music, then obviously that's good too. But yeah, the hope is that you can take the money and use it to further your career, but there are no formal strings attached to it. Another. Oh, can you pay back the contract before it elapses? Short answer to there is yes. I forget those details are all in the contract that you can read before you sign. I think the terms for buying back the contract, we try to discourage people from doing that, because obviously the model doesn't work if for example, if everybody who sells us a portion of their streaming income, and then as soon as they start to do well, they just buy themselves out, and we're only left with the people who are not doing well, then our business model wouldn't work. So you can buy it back, but I think there's some hurdle, like some multiple that you would have to pay to buy yourself out of it. I think it's the idea is it's aligned with the similar. I forget the details. I don't know if you remember that, Thomas, but it is obviously listed clearly in the contract before that you get to read, and there's stuff in the contract that we have to put in, but we've tried to make the contract as simple and readable as possible. So So you would, and obviously we would encourage anyone to consult with a lawyer or their manager as well, so they're 100% clear on what they're signing. But all those details are in the contract. I just don't remember them offhand. Thomas, do you remember that?
No, I don't. We haven't had anyone do that yet, so
right.
Hasn't come up.
Another question about I have an advance in place. Can I get funding? So yeah, I think I briefly covered this in the answer to the question about can you do a deal if you have a record label deal already. So the challenge, if you already have an advance, and so your royalty income is currently being taken by that advance, so that you're not currently seeing your royalty income because it's paying off in advance, then we would have to wait until the advance had been paid off and you had access to that royalty stream again. So that's a constraint there. Check for more questions. Yeah, I'm just waiting for any more questions. If anyone has any more questions, definitely feel free to type them in.
John and Thomas, if attendees want to get a hold of you, if they have any questions that they think of after, can you provide them with a contact to the company or yourselves?
Yeah, of course. So you can go, if you go to our website, themusic.fund, there's a chat button there that you can use to talk to us. You can also send us email, info@themusic.fund, or you're welcome to email me, John, at the Music Fund as well. But the easiest way is probably just to go to our website, which has a lot of information. And if you need more, just a chat there. There was another question that just came up. Yeah, about how do we collect payments? Yes, we collect the payments typically from the distributor. So for example, the way it works on DistroKid, as I think Thomas mentioned, DistroKid has this Teams feature. So if we buy 20% of your royalty streams for some tracks, you would use the Teams feature of DistroKid to go in and add us to the team for those tracks and assign us the portion that we purchased. It's a bit more tricky with some of the distributors that don't support splits. So for those cases, there are some workarounds. The easiest one is actually just to ask the artist to move to a distributor that does support splits. And that's obviously can be a bit of a pain. And we would love to not have to ask artists to do that. But so far, we've only had one case where an artist didn't want to do that, and that was because it was a relatively small amount of money. In other cases, artists have been happy to move to one of the distributors that does support splits. Longer term, we will add features so that we can do more accounting on our end, so that you don't have to do that. But typically, in those cases, we will work with you to try and figure something out that works. Okay, here's another question. Oh yeah, so how many advances have we done so far? So far we've done about 20 to 30 deals. So still fairly early, but enough to have a good idea of how have a fairly good, have everything working pretty smoothly. And as I said, we've had several of those deals take place, and we haven't actually spoken to the artist at all. So we've got feedback from many of the artists and managers who've used the site that it's just been such a sort of delightful experience compared to what they've been used to, of like haggling on the phone or trying to make a deal. Like it's the idea that you can just do it all online. I mean, it's not really that surprising in this day and age, but I guess the music industry has been, at least on the financing side, has been somewhat slow to move everything online. So generally, people have found that a very pleasant experience. Some nice comments there from Steve. Thank you for that. It's like obviously the thing that underlies makes a lot of this possible is the fact that, you know, AI and data science and machine learning and all those kind of things do allow us to automate the decision process now that, you know, there's so much data available. And that is one of the great things about the music industry, is that there is a lot of data out there and a lot of data available. We would love to sort of move into other areas eventually over time, but the music industry is pretty great the way there is data available, and it does allow a lot of these things to be automated. So it's quite exciting. A couple more questions. The funding for our company. So there's two aspects to the funding. So the funding for the operations side of our business, that comes from venture capital, and the funding for the buying royalties, we've borrowed money for that. We did think about actually setting up a fund, like you probably read about some other companies that run funds that invest in music, and we may do that in the future, but right now we're just borrowing the money. Wait a few seconds to see if there's any more questions. I don't see any more questions. Maybe, I don't know how long what's a good amount of time to wait and see if there's any more questions. Nicole, what's the normal procedure?
Well, I think you know, if no more questions are coming in, we've had quite a few. So you know, and you put out your email address. So if anybody has any questions, they can, you know, reach out to you or the Music Fund directly. But thank you. I mean, a great informative presentation today. A lot of engagement from our audience. Thank you all for attending this afternoon. Thank you for presenting the Music Fund to our attendees. And it's a crazy world out there, so stay safe and stay sane. And we hope to see you back on the Common Ground webinar series soon.
Yeah, I guess since we have our website open, I'll just mention we do have this, since you mentioned the crazy world, we have this festival in your living room feature on our website for live stream concerts that are going on if you're looking for something to do. We're just compiling this list from various sources. So if you're you know, looking to support artists by listening to music, check that out.
Very cool. And if you guys are fine with it, we will add this to our Music Biz site as well. We have a list of resources, COVID resources, and events there. So if you don't mind us linking, I'd love to do that.
Great. Oh, that would be great. Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, and someone asked about the email address, so I did just type that in, info@themusic.fund. Also, you can email me directly, as I said, at john@themusic.fund. And there is a chat feature on our website. There's that little chat icon in the bottom right corner that you can click on to chat with us at any time.
Cool. Thank you guys so much, and we will be in touch soon.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thanks everyone for attending.